3, 2, 1. You got it. Here's David Spade with comments on comments.
Thanks, Dana. You know, we get a lot of comments.
We do.
And sometimes I look at my Instagram, according to my screen time, 23 hours a day. We got to pump them numbers up. That's not enough. Let's go for 24.
Yep, you are an Instagram whore.
So I go on there and we talk about this show. So we put like little clips and stuff like this.
I've heard about it. I can't look at it.
Dana doesn't look at it a lot. And I look at it on mine. And most of the comments are very nice. Sometimes they just say we look the same. Fine. We do look similar. But does it need to be every single comment? Look at the fucking other comments, commenters. Look and say, that guy sort of covered that. Yeah.
You read down 500, they look the same. Go, what am I going to do? What am I going to say? They look the same.
Yeah, they go, this is a safe one because 300 people have said it.
By the way, don't ding me. When I look, I could see 100. Isn't he the greatest? Isn't he just something else? Let me go on. Boy, is he good looking for his age. Good Lord. And then you sucked, never were funny, and then I'm dinged for the whole day.
Yeah.
How do you handle that? Because you look every day. You're a look-see type Instagram guy.
When I have time.
Which is
I do
all the
glance.
time. You get all the, Dave is the funniest.
It is true that they jump out when it's negative, but
what's a coldie one for you?
What was a good one I get a lot?
Never, no, bad one. Cold, chilly, never funny. Never found him funny.
You should have died instead of Farley is the most common burn.
I apologize for posting that.
Dana, I know you were drunk.
I had a couple of pops. I had a couple of pops at the Windy Summit.
I went down to the Jiminy Cricket. No, that's not.
I had a Hickory Slim at the Wandering Eye.
The Slippery Noodle.
Yes. And with on ice up with a twish, and I did that mean tweet, and I take it back.
Martin Short.
But Martin Short,
never a negative thing about Martin Short.
I've asked him specifically about his social media presence, and I said, what about when people ding you? He goes, what do you mean? I just get all compliments.
Oh.
I go, Marty!
I must say,
I'm very scared. We do talk to him about his brilliant Ed Grimley character, which is very interesting. And it goes deeper than some of the other podcasts would go.
Yes.
Because I see people cheating on us. I see people going on other podcasts. And then I listen.
Not cool, but sure.
Ours is a little better.
Hey, it's showbiz, That's showbiz.
But we're not competitive.
No, but Katie, my sister-in-law, Ed Grimley was her favorite character. She did an impression of it all the time. He's got so many other ones. He has, what were we just talking about? Jiminy Glick?
Jiminy Glick, which is genius, really. Yeah. Because he improvises it. He talks all about that. I mean,
David, you
that sounds
you
like
were in a movie where you're in a boat.
I can't do it.
Yes, Jiminy. That could have been 6 of them, but yes.
Why do people hate you?
I know. Jiminy Glick is
He's the
rough.
ultimate passive-aggressive character. Him and the church lady never did a movie. I'm just saying, for Ted Sarandos is one of my very close friends. We work cheap. Jiminy Glick meets the church lady. Writes itself.
I apologize that my collar's popping today. Oh, I also have this. And
I didn't know you could grow that big a beard. I mean,
wait till October when it's fully in. Check back.
Fill it in over.
I will say this salt's
I can't
taking
wait
over
to
the
see
pepper.
you all burly.
So anyway, here's Martin Short, you guys. We don't want to give too much away.
Yeah. If I were you, I would press play and listen to this. That's
I think
all
they already
I'm
did.
say. Oh, they already did?
Yeah.
If I were you, I would not press stop. And don't give me that 30-second forward thing, because we know and we keep track. We are 35 minutes, Marty. We're going fast. It's going to be so easy and so fun. Thank you, Marty. Sorry, that was Mark Gervais.
I know. It's uncanny.
I know.
Everything's harder than they say it's going to be, right? No matter what it is.
I love you too. I love the craziness of you two.
See?
We're wacky.
Now, Marty, I have so many questions to ask you, but we are out of time.
I have now that brings me to one of my observations that Marty's persona on talk shows you're constantly making fun of the idea of a performer being on a talk show live in real time as you're doing it. The artifice, the ego, the neediness, and you're the master of setting up Conan. You know, you're terrific. You were better last week, but you know, the undercutting. And I watched you kill him with that. I go, where did that come? I mean, you're the master of that thing. What is that called? Is that like a Bob Hope move?
No. I think it was, the first time I did talk shows was Dave Letterman.
Yeah.
I started doing Letterman in 82, and he started doing it. And I just knew that he was self-deprecating and liked to be put down and hated the opposite. So that probably influenced me doing that.
Right.
I mean, when I went on Johnny Carson the first time, I was afraid to do Johnny Carson for a long time. I pretended that I thought Letterman, I was hip and Letterman was hip, but that wasn't true. And when I first went on Carson, I don't do any of that. So it's really just more with my peers.
Right. And yeah, I'd say Letterman would love that. I mean, when I first went on Carson, and I'll ask you this question too, like there were two nerve-wracking moments. And I think the SNL, the light goes on, that one when I'm actually on SNL, and Carson hearing my name said by him.
Yeah.
And then going out, we had analog television then, and seeing him close up with that pancake, the makeup and everything, and his giant head and his voice. How did you feel?
It was completely surreal.
Yeah.
I also had to follow 3 segments of Betty Davis, so that made it even stranger.
Oh, that was infamous then,
yeah,
right?
That was
because
the first
then
time I was on.
Oh.
And but what I wasn't prepared for. I remember one time someone said to me, one of the producers, and I was maybe going to do it, and he said, like Johnny might look distracted if he glazes over or anything like that. Don't take it personally. He just has done the show a long time. And I thought, I'm just going to do Letterman, Then when I finally did it, he was so great. He was so in the moment doing that.
Mm-hmm. That big
he rubs his eye.
He got on a little roll tonight. That gentleman got on a roll.
Well, this is the genius impersonation of your life. But
yeah,
it really was. He was as great as I had dreamed. I mean, I used to, when I was like 14, I remember one time watching Johnny Carson. He'd been on for 2 years now. And he said something to the effect of, I went to LAX to pick up a friend. And I used to think, gee, what would it be like to be Johnny's friend? I mean, I just loved it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And middle-class kids, maybe even kids of celebrities, the transition between being a civilian and then you're in show business and actually on television, like for me in particular, watching SNL and SCTV and seeing you looking like a cousin from Ireland or something, that guy... We're from the same tribe. He's doing what I want to do better than I can do it. And I remember you were doing Robin Williams and you were going all over the studio and you climbed up a ladder or something. It really hit me. It was like 78. And I go, I want to do what that guy's doing.
It was, it was Robin Williams for Tang. Oh, thank you. It was all,
right.
Wouldn't get to the point of the commercial because he kept improvising.
Yes, that was it. Yeah.
And I remember I was a little nervous about it because, I knew Robin. I didn't want to offend him. And I remember saying to Joe Flaherty, you are the one that will make this mean or not. Because he was the moderator.
Right.
And he kept going,
right.
Oh, Robin. And I said, no, you got to tone that down, Joe.
Yeah.
Because Robin kept
didn't come off mean. I didn't think about that then.
Good.
But
now, Martin, when you did SCTV, how long was the gap before SNL? But did you really want to be on SNL? Or you kind of were on a big SNL type show.
Well, no. The show, SCTV was canceled. So had it not been canceled, I would have stayed with it.
Okay.
So I did a year and a half of NBC SCTV. Then we did a year on Cinemax. And then we were canceled. And then, so I finished Cinemax in April of 84 and was immediately asked to do SNL, which I started in August of '84.
Cinemax, I was usually tied up watching porn. I didn't make it all the way over to SCTV.
Yeah, that's an odd place for SCTV.
I know.
Well, see, go ahead, Dana.
Oh, well, I don't know. I have so many questions. Could you do Ed Grimley today? I mean, is he mentally? Where is Ed? Where is he on the spectrum? And like he's. It's just an eccentric.
He's okay.
Just wonder about.
He's okay, right?
I think he's okay. I mean, he was just fascinated by life. I remember, like in 1979, I was doing a TV series called The Associates, my first show in LA. And my brother Michael and his wife Liz flew down. And she said something to the effect of, "Oh, I was so excited to fly down and I changed my outfit 4 times." And I thought, you change your outfit 4 times to go on a plane. I would kill for that innocence and exuberance toward life.
Yes, yeah.
So Ed Grimley, I always remembered that when I was writing Ed Grimley pieces. So like if the phone rang, he'd say, "Oh, gee, the phone's ringing." And as he went over the phone, he'd pause and say, "Gee, I love the phone." There's always such a sense of mystery, I must say. So even the phone, he had never lost the excitement of a phone. And that was the key. Now, does that make him a little challenge? Sure. Absolutely.
My sister-in-law, Kate Spade, was back then, I wasn't on SNL yet, but that Ed Grimley was her favorite all time of any character of anywhere. And in Halloween, she did her hair up and loved it. It's so funny. And I think because she loved the upbeatness, and that's what I didn't really realize until you just said it. That's like the funnest thing to watch, is someone so happy about something and so joyous enough because you never see it anymore.
Right, absolutely. My favorite Ed Grimley that I wrote in SNL was the premise that it was Thanksgiving, and he was just so excited about Thanksgiving.
Yeah, of course.
And he's going around and he would open the oven. "Oh, look at the cookies. Yeah, I wish I had oven mitts." And he'd burn his hand. But in the middle of the sketch, he just said, "Yeah, I wonder what the neighbors are up to." And then you panned over, and he had a huge telescope where he'd spy on all his neighbors, which is a little, odd. And then he saw Ed Asner killing his wife. So then became Rear Window.
When you got on there for that year, it was kind of like for where I was sitting, just a fledgling stand-up and did some bad television. It was sort of an all-star team. I mean, Christopher Guest has become just mysterious. I mean, he's not. And he was on there with you, obviously. Billy. Who else? You guys came together.
Harry Shearer, Christopher Guest, Billy Crystal, and I were given a 1-year contract. Kind of unheard of.
We'll see how it goes.
No, it wasn't Lauren. It was Dick Ebersol.
Oh. I don't do him as well.
We'll see how it goes.
That was your Dick Ebersol.
It was something.
When I think of Rich Little, I don't think of you.
No.
Yeah.
But anyway, and that was the big four. And Rich Hall.
Oh, wow.
In fact, maybe that was in 1 year.
And had you done sketch comedy with any of those guys?
No,
right?
I had never met them. I had met Billy in 1980. My wife Nancy was on so I knew Billy, and I was doing another series next door called "I'm a Big Girl Now" with Danny Thomas. So we were both bringing a lot of money that year, and we were both on sitcoms. Both would end that year, of course. And so I met Billy briefly there, but I'd never met Chris. I knew Harry through Paul Schaefer.
When you did synchronized swimming, who shot that? Do you remember? Was that Signorelli or was that Schiller?
No, I don't know. No, it was neither of those two.
How was your, going on that show at that point, SNL? Where was your confidence at? For me, I find that my confidence kind of comes and goes. There's times when I really have this, and other times. You've kind of talked about that a little bit.
Well, I mean,
I think
I still have a pro and con list. Which is to do it or not to do it. And one of the reasons is we had a new baby, and I've been in Toronto. Now we had just rented a place in LA, and so I just kind of wanted to be here. So that was on the con list of doing it.
Yeah,
and one of the things on the con list was, am I going to blow it? Like, am I going to blow any credibility I have now accumulated from FCTV by just not being any good, or not being able to crank out stuff every week? All those things that you worry about.
You think you might be out of ideas or anything at that point, and then you got to start over, kind of?
Was it the combination of all of us working together, the cast of SCTV? It was just, you worried that this was going to be a great mistake. And in fact, the first dress did not go well. And I knew that there were a lot of eyes in that first episode because of the four of us. And my wife, Nancy, came around 11:10. And I said to her, this is a disaster. And I wasn't kidding around. I said they should show another
like a rerun
last year, because we're not ready. And she was devastated. And then the show happened, and it was a triumph. And what I didn't realize is what you could do between dress and air. You move that around. The synchronized swimming was already filmed. It was supposed to be in show 2. They moved that to show 1.
Smart.
And it was suddenly, and I remember Nancy would say, "You are such an asshole for putting me through." I said, "I swear to you, I just learned something."
Many nights I would think that it's not going to go on tonight.
Yeah.
It literally, this will be the night. It's not happening. We're going to show a rerun. I'm sorry. It's 10:55. Lauren is giving, in very detailed notes, and they're going, okay, they'll go in there. They'll go in there. So it's always, like he says, it's a miracle it goes on. But I remember that year as being such a fan of. You had some incredible sketches, the four of you together.
Yeah, I remember Harry and I, the first 2 sketches we wrote together were lifestyles of the relatives of the rich and famous and synchronized swimming. And we shot synchronized swimming somewhere in New Jersey, and we're going back on the bus, the bus. And I said, no, we hadn't been on the air yet. I said, Harry, how do you think we're doing so far? And he said, well, all I know is that in this time, these 5 weeks in LA, I would have had a meeting or 2 about 3 ideas that weren't developed, and nothing would happen from them. So at least we're creating product. So that was where we were.
That's
at
the bottom line.
Yeah.
It's sort of the good and the bad. Like, you do a movie and you got to wait a year, and it's like, to me, it's never soon enough. Anything we do, you're shooting a TV show, it doesn't come on for months. And then SNL is almost too quick. You're just hung over from the show and the after party. And then they're like, Tom Hanks this week. And you're like, fucking A. We just finished last week. And you go, what are your new ideas? I got that blank yellow pad because no computers back then. And so you're just like staring at the wall going, fuck. And a lot of our hosts were like leading men type, were very similar. So it's hard to think of new ideas unless you have something new looking or someone's got a real quirky thing about them. Of course, if you're a shitty writer like me, so I just blank out and then I wait and hope to do a weekend update.
When I came on, they told us, and I don't even know if Dinah Minot was one of Lauren's lieutenants. Well, it's only got an 8-show pickup for the first time in the show's history. That's what we were told. That Bernie begged Tartikoff to give Lauren one more chance for dignity's sake. We had an 8-show pickup. Quote, if you don't hit the ground running, we're out of here by Christmas. So
wow, I never heard that. That's amazing.
And everything I ever did got canceled or was never made. Every pilot, the Mickey Rooney Show, Blue Thunder. I did a movie with Burt Lancaster.
I could have predicted the Mickey Rooney Show. But go on.
I should have talked to you, but the stories are amazing. That'll be a whole separate podcast.
Yeah.
But so that was I thought for sure I'm going to be turning out the light. So I understand that fear.
When we did the show, 84, 85, Eddie Murphy had left the season before, and then I think
there's a hole
halfway through, and then Joe Piscopo was manning the ship, and then he left, and they didn't have a wig department; they just rented wigs, and I think the reason, Ebersol always called the George Steinbrenner year, where he paid us more money than had been paid before, and a 1-year contract because he didn't think the show would survive that year. So I think
Wow.
Lauren rebuilt it again into what it is today.
Oh yeah, what did you make at the beginning, Dan?
I made 4,500. I'd never done sketch comedy. So in sketches during the first dress rehearsal, when I got a laugh, I had to stop myself from facing the audience like a stand-up.
Yeah.
You know, and I was in the cold opening and didn't know I was in the cold opening.
Did you hit your head or something? How did you not know?
Everything was moving so fast. It was the very first show. And I at the church late, all these things happened to me. All of a sudden, I was in 4 things, and the church lay got moved up, and then Brad Gray came in my dressing room and just said, "I don't know why it is, but it's your show. I don't know why it happened." And he left, and I was so nervous that I was just in those little dressing rooms in the mirror, and I just started swearing at myself in the mirror. Fuck you. To try to not be just terrified, literally terrified.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was that your first show?
First show. Yeah.
Church Lady.
And this is 1986.
86. I was playing a pizza parlor literally in July doing stand-up. And then I was at Lorne Michaels' house for 3 weeks. And then I was on the show. It was all completely surreal. And Phil came in with me and Jan Hooks, and we were in the cold opening. So I was with 2 really great sketch players.
They're great.
And they were great on Church Chat. So they were, well, it was so awesome to be in sketches
Jan
with
Hooks,
Phil.
everyone, raves about and is revered, but not
as good as anybody.
But not 1/8 of what she should.
Yeah,
because she was the funny. I mean, she played. We did a movie together.
Jiminy Glick,
and but we also did this very cool special, like in '96, and called The Show, formerly known as The Martin Short Show. That was the special.
Yes.
And she played Brett Butler. She was on fire genius.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And there's sketches where she was dramatic, all of a sudden in a sketch, and very super real. Yeah. And she was such a vulnerable spirit and so fucking funny.
She was so funny. I remember in Jiminy Glick and Lana, we it's improvised, and we were doing this scene, and she's talking. Elizabeth Perkins said something about her husband kept blow up sex dolls. Her husband needed it. That was it, about 5 times a day, and Jan said, "Oh no, you got to get a blow up thing." I mean, I've had 4 kids. Fucking me is like fucking a purse. And you just saw Elizabeth Perkins shake and bring the glass up so she wouldn't laugh. And I, of course, my next line was, "Dixie, remember we discussed the word mystique?"
Yeah, she was something else.
She was something.
She did Attitudes. Remember Attitudes? Anyway,
Sweeney
Sisters. But when I started, when you came over from SCTV, did they have a thing? Because when I was there, you wrote your characters down and you could bring them to the show, but they owned everything you wrote from then on. Did you were allowed to bring Ed Grimm? Did you bring other stuff over from SCTV?
No, if there was a rule like that, no one mentioned it to me. Because I think I would have said, "Shut up! I created this. I'm doing whatever I want." And I knew that Andrew Alexander wasn't going to sue me from SCTV.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to sue me, so I just did it. And then when I left SNL, like I created a character Nathan Thurm or people like that. I did it in other specials. No one's ever mentioned this to me.
I think it'd be weird if Lauren would call people out on that. I think it just
they changed the rule later, but it wasn't when I first got there.
Yeah, what was
you could bring in your characters, you would own them, and then I don't know why, but I ended up selling Church Lady T-shirts, and then Lovett said to Lauren, "Dana's making a lot of money selling T-shirts," which I wasn't. And I think after that, well, maybe we should get a contract, so I think it changed, which, I didn't really care. I haven't, but I technically
So
own
if you
the
were
church
doing,
lady.
so if you were doing a sitcom appearance, guest appearance on a hit sitcom, and arrived as a church lady, you'd need permission.
I would not for church lady, but if I arrived as Hans or Garth, I would.
And what if you? But if you did it, no one's going to sue you.
I don't think so.
Yes,
no,
you
I mean,
would.
Gervitz
no,
would be
I
like,
don't even.
I don't know if it's a risk to
I don't worry about that stuff. It's just kind of funny.
Do your Gervitz again. Let's hear it.
I wouldn't risk it. There's another drop there.
I think there's a drop more money.
I think you're slightly onto something, and I mean slightly. I think the pitch is wrong, but the rasp is there.
It's going very. It's just one tone. There's a lot more nuance to it, but it's become.
Yeah,
We've done
It's a
it
nice-
so long.
It's a nice little run. Nice little run.
Nice little
Now
run.
he's listening to this.
Oh, no.
There's German shepherds all around him tonight. I thought it was really good. Marty, we love. We just.
Listen,
I mean, who's your?
Listen,
You have You do your Lorne. Do you have a Steve Martin impression?
Do Steve.
Steve's hard.
This is. I'll do David doing Steve. Well, excuse me. Too high pitch.
can you do Selena?
No, I can't do a lot of voices. Actually,
No.
I don't have. Bill Hader, more than any
Really?
human being
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
is if he tells a story that involves people, he can do every voice in that story. It's
Yes.
absolutely insane.
It's
But
insane.
I
yeah.
can't.
I think being assigned them was good when you're on SNL. Can you do this guy by this
I would go
date?
like I remember on SCTV, someone had written a piece about because Gore Vidal and Norman Mailer had gotten into a fight at a party, and so in our version, Eugene Levy as Norman Mailer threw red wine on me, and then it became a Tide commercial. We're both by the machine trying to get the stain out, and then someone said, "Can you do Gore Vidal?" And I said, "Sure." Because I had no idea. And you go home and you look at the tapes. And then what I would do is I'd type out a Gore Vidal interview. And then I'd look at the Gore Vidal script that the writers have
right.
written.
And match
And I
it.
tried like phrases that Gore would say.
Yeah.
Do that. And then I would have it that day. And then I couldn't do it the next day.
Yeah.
The day of filming.
I had John Malkovich in a hotel room in New York one night. Before I had recording, I just could do John Malkovich perfectly for like an hour. And then woke up and I didn't have it.
I did him on primetime. Malkovich in the Middle was a sitcom.
It goes Travolta very easily.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Why? It's all that
Can't you
stuff.
tell that they're lying? No,
Yeah.
then it goes walking too. See, it's a
I
very
know.
slipstream. Can we talk about Jiminy Glick? Because where does that come from? I mean, when I did Church Lady the first time on SNL, where Steve Martin was sitting there, and they wouldn't let me say penis, so I had to write it like bulbous, gorged loaf, and I'm really digging into it. I'm new to the show. I think you were there. And gorged loaf and throbbing.
I think Chevy and Steve and I were hosting. Yeah.
But I heard I'm getting into it, just this and Satan and throbbing buttocks. And Steve under his breath said to Lorne, "What kind of mind thinks of this?" I knew what he meant.
That's a great compliment.
Yeah.
It is. So Jiminy Glick, what kind of mind thinks of that? I mean, it's so supernaturally funny. I don't know where did that start? How did you do that?
When I was doing a talk show for King World in 99, 2000, and I wanted to, so I remember we were shooting at CBS Television City, and I went like 2 hours of makeup, big bulbous nose, weird wig. And I went to Farmer's Market, and I was like handing out sushi with my hand, and people would say, "Can I have your autograph, Mr. Short?" And I thought, that's kind of not what I wanted. But then I made this film, Pure Luck, in 1990, where I got a bee sting and I swell up.
With
and no one
with Danny Glover, right? Yeah.
Glover.
No. Glover. Yeah, sorry.
Not Glover.
Yeah,
Danny
Not Glover. That's
Glover.
the other Glover. Yeah.
This is like
Hey,
Jiminy
look,
Glover. And so here's the wonderful actor, Danny Glover. Anyway, so everyone said, I don't recognize you in that. So that became Jim, therefore the look, so I could be anonymous. And I had known a guy growing up in my street whose voice would go high and then low. You know,
Yeah.
if you stay off my lawn for a year, children, I'll take you to the movies. You know, so I don't know, just that's
and just saying such aggressively
that
cutting
part was
things.
improvised, and I actually don't know what that is because Ed Grimley was very written, and a lot of characters I did were very written. But Jimmy was just always improvised, and I would see playbacks. You know, we'd interview for
Interesting
16 minutes, and then we'd edit down. You know, the film pieces, not when they were live. And I would say, like I'd say myself, I take great umbrage. And I think, I don't even know what it means. I've never used that, take great umbrage. So it was a little bit odd, that part, in a good way.
Do you think that in the arts, so more of a Anthony Hopkins, I did a movie with him once. And it bombed because everything I'm in bombed. This podcast we'll get it. Well, this will get the wordy or whatever award. But he said he thought acting to him was like self-hypnosis, and he would have a little Polaroid picture of his character, and they'd yell Speed, and he would just put it on his look to it like that and take a deep breath, and then he'd be the character. So it seems like when you were doing Jiminy Click and improvising like that, it was it a kind of a form of self-hypnosis where you look at it later and go, you're in such a zone? I don't know. Does this sound too processy?
I don't know. I certainly wasn't doing the Hopkins trick.
Yeah.
You didn't have a picture?
And nor did Ali McGraw. I mean, look, everyone has their own approach to great acting. But I would say... well, Anthony Hopkins also said that the first thing he does is he reads the script 100 times or something.
Or 200, yeah.
I read it 500.
Yeah. You read it 500?
Yeah, and then I go, I still don't get it, but I'll do it. And Gervitz goes, I think you should do it.
I mean, you have no other option. That wasn't Gervitz. That was horrible.
Yeah, a little
Let's
rusty.
hear your Bernie. Dana, let's hear your Bernie.
I don't know if I have a good Bernie, really.
He's got Brad.
Nobody fucking knows nothing.
Hey, kid, it's just show business.
You know, Martin, those...
Bernie was the last of the great manager.
Absolutely.
I mean, in terms of a character and the way he talked and everything.
Oh.
You're going to be a star, kid. You know, that guy. And he was so lovable.
Yeah. He was the greatest.
When I started SNL, those guys got, that Brillstein company was a big churning out SNL. So when I signed, it was like, I didn't really think I'd be on SNL, but I loved that they had all these people I loved. But when I got on, I think my first one was a writer. I didn't want to be a writer at all. They saw my stand up. I didn't do that great. And they said, we're going to hire you as a writer performer. I'm like, I don't want to be I'm not even a good performer, but I'd rather be that. And then I don't know how to write for people. Like Dana is like a better version of me. So I get it. And it's only $900. No. And then they go, but you get $1,500 if you're on. Like if you, stumble in a weekend update, and they go, but don't write yourself on. Okay. And, so then I did that for a while. And then I got on as Michael J. Fox, like the second show, cause he was in the news. I did something with Dennis Miller on Update, but I did it. And then I go, I got on, I can't believe it. And then they forgot to put me in the opening credits as featuring, and fucking everyone thought it was Mike or Dana, and I was fucked.
What,
and
you
then
never
I didn't get on again for months. Never for months. I just stayed as a writer. And it was very hard, to be honest, writing for someone like Dana. Anyone that was not me, I could kind of write for me. I just couldn't formulate sketches, and I was doing too many scenes and sets. And everyone's like, what the fuck are you writing? I'm like, I don't know when you walk in that place to get a job and they all just shut their door and go, I hope you die, because if you're on, I might not get on. So who's helping me? So I asked Conan or Bob Odenkirk or Smigel, like they're pleasant enough and everyone's being nice, but they don't owe me anything, and they're stuck in their own head.
No. It's a tricky place. I mean, my only regret about my experience was that I wish I hadn't done a 1-year contract. because I think, especially having already been known from SCTV, suddenly you weren't just on a series, you were doing a special every week, and you better deliver, you know? And so by the fourth show, I mean, I've talked about this, but I went into Eversource and said, I want to quit. Can I get out of my contract? And because I just couldn't, it was the every week final exam part of it. I was thinking, you know, because SCTV was so ideal creatively, because you wrote for 6 weeks and then you shot for 6 weeks, and you wrote and you shot. And so if you didn't have an idea for 2 weeks, you could make it up in the next 4 weeks of writing, you know?
Some sketches come in a little undercooked on SNL. Like they're not even ready. You're just like, we got to go. Like, let's do our best.
For me, it played to my ADD, I think, and procrastinating nature, to have those hard, fast things coming at me and kind of not taking it as seriously, not having time to ruminate about stuff and think about it too much. That was the upside to it. But the downside would be like, we didn't get it together and it bombed.
Yeah, but that's the thing. If you are, you know, you're going to be there for many years and this is just your job, something bombing is fine. Look, when I was on Second City stage and an improv set would bomb, you didn't go and get depressed. You just kind of went, you know.
Right. It was definitely a little bit of it. Became a Game of Thrones in a sense.
Yeah.
When there was a cast behind the cast as well.
Right. Absolutely.
So there'd be 12. Now there's like 20.
20.
And when I came on, you know, I was immediately just me, Jan and Phil and Kevin, and we were just all like 6 of us basically doing the show. So yeah, when you came, David, there was like a cast behind the cast, and they became, you know, all-stars, you know, with Sandler and Chris Rock and so forth. Tim Meadows, yourself. Yeah. But yeah, you were sitting behind. David would just sit behind me. Yeah. And Lauren would say, David's ready if anything happens to you. Right?
He doesn't have much game, but he's ready. Yeah, I wasn't a super character guy.
I never felt... I since everything I'd done besides stand-up had failed, when I got on there at a given point, maybe it was in the second or third season, I felt like, okay, I sort of belong here doing this. Quick form impressions, quick form characters. It's like, this fits me.
But wait a second. When did you become a star on the show?
Yeah, Dana. Dana just said you're agreeing you're a star. Go ahead.
I would say...
No. But he did become a star. So when you're a star, you're an inevitability. You don't think you're going to get fired.
No, I think that I think the first 60 to even 80 shows, I was, you know, not as confident as I would become. Wow. I think that so many things that were out of my control, being invited into Wayne's World, that started its journey. I was not a political impressionist when I got on SNL. I was assigned George Bush Sr., and then Lovitz was Dukakis. And so this is true, that when Dukakis lost on election night, John called me before the real Dukakis conceded to George Bush, saying, well, you're gonna be in the cold opening all the time. You happy now? Which is the thing
But Dana,
we always say, you happy now?
I think also, Dana, you might not, if you knew what you knew now and you saw your first show where you killed in 4 things, you'd go, that guy's fine. He's going to be great on the show. But when you're in it, you don't know any better. And you're just like, fuck, I hope I don't get fired. I would get calls like, they don't know if they're going to bring you back. So I would move in the summer. And then 2 months later, they go, all right, they'll let you come back, but you better really step it up. I'm like, it's just so stressful. And then at the end of the year, they don't know if they're going to bring you back. I don't know if it's clicking. So I'd have to move out and they go, all right. And I'm like, God damn. It's very tough.
I'm just wondering if Marty had stayed with the show and then he became a part of our cast. Would have elevated us.
Would have been
faster
huge.
And higher.
I would have been part of your cast. In fact, Lauren, I remember meeting with Lauren. I have this kind of Rain Man memory for dates and things. But it was July of '85, and I went to Lauren's apartment and to discuss this Western that he was, you know, Three Amigos, that he and Steve and Randy Newman had written. But he also still hadn't decided and was contemplating whether he should return to SNL. And he would say, I remember him saying, now if we did it together, if we returned, I said, no, I'm not. What are you talking? I'm not
I'm trying to get you.
doing SNL. I thought we were here to talk about how could I do a movie, a Western, and be an SNL? And Lauren said, it's called scheduling.
Yeah.
Did Lauren write on Three Amigos, by the way?
Yeah, the credit is
Wow.
Steve, Lauren, and Randy Newman.
And then you guys
we
made
all
up
went
shit.
to the Ziegfeld and watched it. The whole cast. We all went to the Ziegfeld and watched
fun.
it.
What a
before it was released in theaters.
What a monster
Yeah.
movie.
Well, there was an opening night in New York, I remember.
Maybe that's where we were, or it was at a screening. But that would have been interesting to have had you on the cast.
And obviously you guys fucked around on the Three Amigos, right? It's made up shit.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I guess we did. Yes, there were certain things totally improvised. There's a scene where I'm sitting talking to little children about when I was a child star and my obsession, not with Lillian Gish, but her sister Dorothy Gish. And they can't speak English, and I'm saying, and when Dorothy Gish said to me, "You got it," it meant something. All that's you're improvising. Yeah.
It's one of those movies that's gotten bigger and brighter as time's gone on.
Absolutely. We were second to Golden Child.
The Golden Child. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
No one's talking about that right now, even though it was a good movie. But Three Amigos hung in there. Also, what about Big Picture, Dana? Real quick. Big Picture was what year?
Big
because
Picture, yeah.
I didn't really get. I got the Hollywood references. And I was like, "Fuck!" You were saying stuff like, "Listen, I've read most of these scripts almost all the way through, and what I think." And I'm like, "Did he just say most?" I was like, "How fucking good is this guy?" It's so funny to me because I was sort of newer, but I'm like, goddamn, this is so fucking funny.
That was we shot that in '88. It was released in '89, and I worked 2 days in that film.
Oh, are you serious? And you stole that shit? Oh my God.
Well, and I remember we dyed my hair. We sprayed it, we curled it, and it made it big and red, like Lucy. But then we had lifts, so it was like that.
Oh wow!
And I remember but there wasn't a wig. Because we were just creating it that morning, so it wasn't a wig. So the next day, I had big welts here, so I couldn't have shot.
Tape? What do you do?
They were doing that. They're pushing it up. And it was like big plastic things. Anyway, there were welts, and I remember Chris said afterwards, like a month later, what we should have done is that the character should have had big bags the first scene, and the second scene no bags, and never explained.
A quick tuck.
That was you must love that. That was such a great one.
That was fabulous. Yeah.
Now what's it like? Because I guess I don't know how many hours we get to go, but Only Murders in the Building. Like what does that feel like for you now? I mean, it's such a cool giant hit, and here you are again in a big television show with your best friend,
cool
which
people,
I want to ask you about.
It's actually ideal. I mean, I was talking to Steve today, and I said, Steve, can you imagine if, like, when we were shooting last January, I had said, hey, you know what? I bet this is going to be the #1 Hulu ever thing. And he would have said, yeah, not in a million years. So I think everyone's surprised. I remember seeing a Johnny Carson, like from the 70s, and Tony Randall was on. And 3 of The Odd Couple. And Johnny said, how long will you stay with the show? And Tony just stared at Johnny and said, that's the dumbest question I've ever been asked in my life. I'll stay with it as long as it is a hit. John, hits are few and far between. I will never leave a hit. And it's true.
So
hits
true.
are like flukes. They're flukes.
You got to know that in a career where if you start out on Friends or you're a child star, let's say your first job is Friends, one of those people.
Right.
And it's so big and you just don't know it's not going to go away, which I'm not saying it did for them, but any show like that, you start off on top of the world like a child star. And like child stars are worse. It is plummeting. I mean, it's a free fall after that. Like you're like, wait, where is everybody? I just thought it would be so easy. I've been caught up in that. You do a sitcom and you go, I don't want to do another one for a year. And then a year later, they're like, who the fuck's this guy? And you're like, I'm the guy last year. Remember you wanted me to do, anything.
Yeah.
And then you
Well,
get
Steve said when he did The Jerk, which was a massive, massive hit.
massive.
Yeah.
And then he thought, this is simple. Every film I'm going to make, I guess, is going to be this kind of hit. And the next, 3, no one saw, So but I agree with you that when you're young and you're in that first hit, it's almost better to be in a hit later on so you understand how showbiz works,
Right. And the nice thing is that, things that fail, people don't really see. So when they just think of your resume or me or anybody, they just remember, that thing and that thing and that thing. Every once in a while, someone will come up and mention a movie I was in. My wife and I have a running gag for my short-lived movie career. If we're watching a movie and it's really bad, I go, this movie is so bad, I could be in it. But, in the end of the day, it's just really the chemistry, as they say, you and Steve, I mean, this and your stand-up act together and all this coming together in these last few years. I mean, but it must be, it's so fun to work with your friend like that and make all that money.
It's absolutely true. No, it's true because we love the hang. We have a riot on the set. Mm-hmm. We like a very loose, funny set where there's a lot of jokes and the crew's laughing. Yeah. And Selena, as it turned out, was exactly the same way, like that kind of set. But Steve and I will literally, and listen, I have an objectivity. It's a beautiful thing that we'll finish. He'll be really excited when we finish at the same time, and then he'll arrange the driver so we'll drive just in his car and drink white wine on the way home. And then we'll park in front of his house and talk and finish the bottle of white wine.
Jeez, that's like a show in it.
It's a long way from the Eagles,
Well, I saw your show at Santa Barbara. It's so great when you guys go on tour. It is. I go on tour. I did 9 dates with Sandler and like Norm and Schneider, and we did like an SNL thing about 2-3 years ago. And even 9 in a comfortable way, 9 days in a row. By the end, I'm like, God damn, I'm not exactly Bon Jovi, but what the fuck? Does it get to you, the road? It's kind of hard, It's no matter how easy they make it.
We'll do the most we've ever done. Maybe is 4.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah.
Like we just did last week, and we were in Nashville and Richmond, Virginia, and Columbia, South Carolina. We did those 3 in a row, but the next ones will be in March or something.
You can really get tricked out by playing casinos. I was doing one with Dennis once on San Bernardino, and there's got like 1,000 seats, but everyone's in the bar right before the show comes out. So the show starts in like 90 seconds, and I go out there with Dennis. Of course, Dennis, Christ's sakes, Carvey, is it over? Are we done now? Jesus, 3 Dog Night, what are we here? All right. But then they came in with, yeah. But, Dennis, my IQ goes up when I do Dennis because of his the references and amazing. But yeah,
I was even Dennis said that at one point he'll be in his 90s. Carolyn will come in and say, Dennis, the last person that would ever have gotten one of your references died.
All right, Christ's sakes, hanging with the Mart Cat with Spudley. Okay,
every
doing
time.
A little putty cast.
We do it. Right? We do gigs. Me and Dennis. He goes, "Hey, can I go first? I got to get out of here." I go, "We're on the same flight. You got to get out of here. Where do you got to go?" He's like, "Just let me go first, Spade. Come on, I got you on SNL." I go. By the way, he gets anything he wants with me because we're all buddies. And the last gig I did with Norm was me, Norm, and Dennis, and they both go. Norm goes, "And then can I go?" I go, "I have to follow you two assholes. It's too hard. You're too good."
Did I ever tell you that Norm Macdonald hosted the Canadian Screen Awards maybe 4 years ago? And the Canadian Screen Awards is the Emmys and the Oscars in one evening.
Oh.
The CSAs, right? And Norm was the host. And I was in the audience. I was getting this thing. And he comes out, and this is his opening joke. So I was flying up here. And I was at LAX, and I ran into my friend Chris Rock. And Chris said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm about to go to Toronto. What are you doing?" And Chris said, "Well, I'm real excited. I'm about to host the Academy Awards." so why are you going to Toronto? And Norm said, I said, oh, just to visit some family. And that's his opening joke in the Guinness Group. And then his next one is, Canadian television is a lot like the Northern Lights. We know it exists, but we've never seen them. And he's,
I love this cadence. I love Norm, the way he kind of creep up on a line, just that rhythm of his. But yeah, another Canadian. There you go. Mike Myers. You can't keep. Everyone thinks I'm Canadian. I run into him. I go, no, Missoula, Montana. I'm 100 miles from Canada, but my wife's a Canadian citizen, born out Peace River.
Oh, really?
But the Canadians, yes.
It's very weird. People used to say all the time, like I'd be doing a CBC interview, and what is with all the Canadians? Is there something in the water? And I'd say, no. It really isn't. I don't think there's any, boundary to the arts. Yeah. But then people just kept coming. Seth and Phil Hartman and, the SCTV, Eugene and Catherine.
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey. Fuck, Norm.
It is bizarre considering it's 34 million people.
34 million people. So it's like all those people coming from just California.
Yeah.
Basically.
Right. Martin, I have to ask you something before whenever it's over. I don't even know how do we end it, but do you remember, I've told this story before and I forget you're in my story of my first Johnny Carson, my very first. And Dana, I'll tell you, it was Johnny, which one Johnny was, and you were talking about the makeup. But when I went on, the guy, Jim McCauley, who books me, I said, he goes, you go out there and you hit your mark and you walk back. And he's all drunk, I'm kidding. I don't know, maybe. And he goes, and I go, okay. And he goes, there's a little dot on the floor. And I go, got it. And he goes, do your shitty act and get out of here. And I go, all right. He's got to get over to the Copper Penny across the street. So anyway, I go, all right. And then I go, what if Johnny invites me over? I've heard stories. And he goes, he won't. Go. And I go, oh, okay. Well, I guess it's already been decided. But I'm new and scared. So I walk out. I got like a Cable Cruise sweater on that I didn't even know what to wear. It's the middle of August. So I go out there, beep, bop, boop. I do. And all I can think of is, the floor is so black and shiny. I've never been on a TV thing. I've only seen the show that way. And so now I'm seeing the cameras and shit, and I'm
terrifying.
I think about anything but my act. I'm like this. I go, what's going on here? And then I go, oh, and he's kind of behind, so he's really not in your eye line at all. And so I start to do my act. I do it. And Martin's next to him. He's the guest. So I see later on they're laughing and being nice. And then I leave and I go, all right. And I turn as a robot, as I was told, meet mop to walk off. And then Martin or Johnny, and I think Martin says, oh, he was funny. And Johnny goes, yeah, let's have him come over or something.
Oh, Martin.
And then you both watch me leave. And then he goes, he's too nervous to look. Okay, bye. And I just left. Yeah. And then Jim McCauley goes, you dumb fuck. He invited you over. I go, you told me that.
That's right.
Ow. So
that's right. We had talked. I leaned over and I said, "Boy, he was hysterical, wasn't he?" And Johnny was laughing through the thing. And then you just walked off. Yeah,
hilarious.
I don't think anyone had walked off after being invited over.
It's so. I'm in the back. He came by my dressing room though. I took my sweater off. I was setting BO fucking records. I took my sweater off. I was just in my pants and my fucking skinny twig body. And they knock on the door. And I think it was him and Doc or something. And he goes, and I had Pepto-Bismol in my hand. And I go, yeah. And he goes, I did. I just wanted to say good job. You didn't come. And I go, ah. And he goes, Pepto, I'm trying to quit the stuff. And walked away. Got a laugh and walked away. And I was like,
I don't think that Johnny ever forgot those early days and those early struggles
of comics. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he had great empathy for him.
And thank you for laughing while I was out there. You are etched in my memories as part of it.
I remember the second time I was on Johnny Carson. So I was on the first time with Betty Davis. Now I'm my ass back. And I plan my stuff and it goes well. and Jake Johansson.
Yeah.
Remember Jake?
No,
San
he
Fran.
sang for
It
me.
was his
Yeah.
first. It was his first appearance, and his parents had flown in, and they're in the audience, and so then I do 2 segments, and then they go to commercial, and then Freddie DeCordova comes over and is talking to Johnny, and they're talking, and I had been Jake and I were both with Rollins and Joffe, so I knew him. We were talking before. Anyway, Freddie turns to me and says, "Do you have another segment?" And I said,
Whoa.
"Yeah. I mean, I have stuff we didn't hit." But then I said, "But if that means you're cutting Jake is really, really funny." And the 2 of them looked at me like I was like out of Bellevue. Like, what? Who did you just say something to us?
Wow.
And I did the 3rd segment, and they cut Jake. So that was bad. But in the 3rd segment, Johnny did this thing. So I'm here, and I said something, and he laughed. And then he looked at me. He looked out and said, "You're a funny guy." And by the time I got home, I had been taped on VHS because I went to a party after. And I must have rewound that moment of Johnny going, "You're a funny guy," 18 times in a row till I jammed the tape, because it was like my whole life, and being a kid in Hamilton and watching him and just watching show business.
Wow.
Forget even until that moment. I don't know why it struck, and that's the power that he had over someone in comedy. Dave Letterman has an hilarious story where, and I won't name the manager, but his manager. So he's on the spot. It's his first appearance. His heart is beating. He realizes this is everything he's ever dreamed of. His whole life is before him. They're saying 20 seconds. And his manager came over to him, started picking lint off his coat and said, "Robin got Popeye."
Wow.
And David Letterman.
Jesus.
I don't know. I had a weird intersection with Johnny in that I did him on the show, and I'd done appearances with him, and then that became, unfortunately, there was one sketch that was a little cruel. I didn't write it, but
it was the funniest sketch I maybe have ever seen in my life. Phil, that is correct, sir. Peaked in the 70s. Is that the
I
one?
felt yes,
old reference, lost on younger viewers.
Yeah,
I felt when I did that it was so supernaturally funny to me that it was really my first time on SNL where the audience didn't really matter, because I had Phil there, and I'm able to go,
A gentleman joins us. For those of you at home who don't know, you're watching a television.
that kind of thing. And it was just, I knew it was so
what you also
supernaturally
did
funny.
in that sketch was that you had that slight early dementia look in your eyes of confusion. And that's what made it so funny and so mean.
I know.
Yeah, I don't.
He didn't like that.
But anyway, I was told that at a given point, because of the way it was satirizing Johnny compared to Rich Little, it was a little closer to the bone, that he used to walk around behind the Tonight Show set, down the big hallway going,
They're making fun of me now. It's time to go.
Oh, really?
yeah. But I mean, anyway.
Well, I don't think Johnny liked Rich Little's either.
Well, the first few times I went on the show with Johnny after doing SNL, he was fine with it. He loved Carcinio.
It makes fun of Carcinio as much as it satirizes us.
Yeah, Arsenio.
It was just that one thing. But yeah, I was kind of bittersweet because I was like you. I just grew up with Johnny Carson. I do think he's the singular greatest television personality we've ever had. And really thinking about his voice, just that voice of his was supernatural.
That register down here, the way he would, that whole thing.
So a lot of our talk show.
If David did Carson, he'd have the shing, but it would be higher.
Yeah.
It would be 3 octaves too.
Martin, I had my balls taken away when I was younger, and no explanation. And
I know.
my impressions are off, but I luckily am getting by on my sparkling personality.
But by the way, non sequitur. So Selena Gomez had such a wonderful voice as well.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at the show with you and Steve and these voices, and then hers is such a cool mix.
Yeah.
The three of you. Have you noticed her? She just has this really nice voice. It's very interesting.
She's been a star for, she's 28, but she's been a star since she was 13 or something.
Seems like a heavy job. She had all these people watching every move, and I only met her on Hotel Transylvania. She was a sweetheart. She seems like just trying to glide through life and trying so hard to be normal when everything is trying to make her crazy. It's a crazy world. I like when you said to Steve, "Are you not Scott Bakula?" Anyway, I think we have to wrap up with Mr. One of the funniest guys ever, Martin Short. Martin, thank you for hanging out with us, buddy.
Thanks, guys. This is fun.
Really enjoyed it.
And by the way, edit. And here's the other thing you might get. This is the note you're going to get from
Don't worry.
The studio, whatever it is.
From everyone, yeah.
Guys, Johnny Carson left the air in 92.
Any newer people you could talk about?
I love that you really enjoyed talking, but that was a big bulk of it. And I don't think we really have a show.
We have editing capability.
We can't cut around it. We have 6 minutes of a show left.
You have 6 minutes of a show.
Yeah, good show. Good solid sixer.
Well, you know what? The next one you should do, you should really focus on President Carter.
That's our next.
Come on, man.
We're tackling
I can do my Biden.
Oh yeah, he's got Biden shit. We didn't even get to that far.
Oh, let's see a little Biden.
Little Biden.
Come on.
During the
now.
credits.
Let's get real. My dad lost his job. No joke. I'm not kidding around here. Come on,
that's
folks.
The best.
Let's get real. Number one, the one part. Number two, what the guy said. You know the drill. Is there a crisis at the border? No, there's no crisis at the border. How do you know? Because it says so here on the piece of paper. No crisis at the border. It says the people.
Fantastic. Now we can go.
Thank you.
Now we can go.
All right, guys.
But I like the Carson stuff. All right, bye.
Bye, guys.
Pleasure.
Miss you already. All right.
Bye-bye.
Leave meeting. Go. Hey, what's up, flies? What's up, fleas? What's up, people that listen? We want to hear from you and your dumb questions.
Questions, ask us anything. Anything you want.
You can email us at flyonthewall@cadence13.com.
Ask me anything. Ask me anything. That's like Wayne's World, I suppose. Can you sing it? Ask me anything? A little jingle?
I can do it like this. My money don't jiggle jiggle. It bold. That's the only song I know right
That's
now.
pretty good. Ask me anything. I don't care what a thing. What you do, had a game. I'm a wearing bling ding.
Jesus,
Okay,
that's pretty good.
Pretty good. Got in the hood.
Okay.
I do what I should. I'm a rhymer. I'm a rapper. It's just
I'm getting some morning wood. Go ahead. Hello, gentlemen.
Here's someone who asked us anything. Hello, gentlemen. My name is Christopher Neil Walker. I'm a new fly from Melbourne, Florida, and loving the podcast.
Florida.
I had something of the Dale Hammond episode that really intrigued me. You both admitted he's from Australia. You know I'm doing that.
No, he's from Florida.
Oh, Melbourne, Florida. Fuck me. Yeah, I'm a Trump supporter, and I'm a fucking.
You switched it.
I just saw Melbourne. Okay. I'm just
going.
thinking of what a Floridian would talk like, you know.
No, Australia's
Hey,
easier.
I retired in Florida. My name is Christopher Neil Walker.
Oh, boy.
No, I won't. Okay.
That's all right. Go ahead. So
I'm a
he
new fly.
heard-
Yeah. So
he heard we can't sing.
he heard the Daryl Hammond episode, and it intrigued him because we both, Daryl and I, said we can't really sing. That he says, "quote That kind of blew my mind, thinking about the amount of control Dana has over his voice, being able to speak like McCartney but not sing like him. Why? That was
Well, I think they meant me and you admitted I can't sing. I cannot for sure. Even my mom told me because I did karaoke on my birthday. She goes, Davey, I did Home Sweet Home by Motley Crue, and it was so fucking rough. And my mom goes, Davey, everyone's going to say you can sing. You cannot. And my mom was my biggest fan. It was crushing.
Well, can you just sing a little bit
I
for
can't
America
really.
the Beautiful? Just give us the first line. America.
Money don't wiggle wiggle.
I got a time on my side.
That's
and
all
I
I
go
got.
on about it.
So that's a TikTok song. That's
Well, he
going
was
on.
like, McCartney
There we
sings
go.
it different ways. If I do, she gives me all my love. That's all she do. But now he's rougher. Like this. We towed the line. We knew where we were going. We were suffering.
What song's that?
I made it up.
Oh, well,
Your day breaks, your mind aches.
so you
find
think
it
you
all-
can sing like McCartney, but you
Little
can't
bit.
sing in real life? Can you sing in real life?
I don't think I really can unless I stylize it. It's like she chopping broccoli. If I hit it in a comic way,
applause.
I'm better. She's cold as ice.
Yeah.
Paradise. But if I'm trying to sing, I'm not a real singer. Like Lovitz
Right.
has pipes, which he loves to remind me. You can't sing like I can. John has a real voice, and Anna Gasteyer had a real voice. I'm sort of I don't know. What song would you like me to
Well,
attempt?
I know what you're saying. Like, I can't sing, but if you're sort of pretending to sing like someone, if it's Tom Petty, you go, listen, can you see, baby, would marry me? Sure, pull the cock, give someone else a try. You know what, your step, or you gonna get hurt yourself. Someone gonna tell you lies.
Now, dude,
Cut you down
Mike Tyson doing the same song.
Don't you be like son? And I'm quitting anyway. I'm so scared.
I forgot which one I used to do. Tom Petty.
That's funny. But, Paul would just say, you just hit the notes. You play a note, you sing along, you see what happens. It's not a problem. But, people say a lot of things, but, Paul has to sing songs he wrote when he was 18. But he does an incredible job.
Well, he's fucking one of the best in the world, so it's easy for him to go.
He's a
It's
freak.
easy.
He's a boy genius. Like Lauren said to me, he's Mozart, who apparently wrote more great melodies than anyone in history.
Mozart did?
Yeah.
Did he ever host when you were there?
He was a cast member for one season.
Dude, I think McCartney was there when I was there. And
Mozart sounds like a rapper.
couldn't deal with it. But yeah, we can't sing. It's really, we're going to wrap
We
this up.
can't really sing.
We
I can
can't
sing as
sing.
Neil Young a bit and Paul McCartney a bit, but no, can't sing. And I don't know why.
Oh yeah, that was one he used to do with Tom Petty. Well, the talk on the street says you might go solo. Well, a good friend, or even David Bowie. What was the song he did? Changes. Can you do-
Change. Yeah.
The Permanence.
Anyone
I
could
can't
do.
sing.
Anyone do Dylan. you
Oh
know?
yeah, my friend saw
Soon
Dylan
after
last.
midnight.
My friend
and
saw
I
Dylan
got a
last
date
night
with the Fair Queen.
Really?
and
Where?
said
Oh.
he did the same song for about 40 minutes. And they
Dylan
didn't,
does
and no one knew
whatever
what was
Dylan
happening.
wants.
Yeah, I think at that point, I think it's just turning into a magic trick. It's like Penn and Teller because you go there and he's like, I'm going to do a song for 40 minutes until people fucking walk out and then they don't. And he's like, this is like the longest joke. I'm just going to go in circles. And I promise you won't hear a hit.
I envy musicians. We have to have a new 60. Like you just did a special.
Yeah.
You got to write a new hour of original material in the next 2 weeks. But the Stones are up there. Time
I know, it's
is
true.
on my side.
Yeah, fuck
it's
that.
like,
That's
come
true.
on, man.
You know what I do? I do the
So
same
unfair.
material, but I hold the mic in my left hand.
And I want to paint it black.
Okay, this question's too long. Thank you for asking it. Sorry, we don't really have an answer, but we took 20 minutes to tell you that.
Fly on the Wall has been a presentation of Cadence 13.
Please listen, then rate, review, and follow all episodes.
Executive produced by Dana Carvey and David Spade, Chris Corcoran of Cadence 13, and Charlie Finan of Brillstein Entertainment. Production and engineering led by Greg Holtzman, Richard Cook, Serena Regan, and Chris Basil of Cadence 13.